What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Benzwerks tutorial. This is Rich from Benzwerks, and today we got another great tutorial for you guys. We're going to be dealing with the C-Class 203 chassis battery removal. Couple things you will be needing there: regular stuff, 3/8 ratchet, 10mm, 13mm sockets. So first thing I do here is we're going to remove this fresh air filter cover here. And what you want to do is pry against these three clips that are pointed to here. They're pretty tough. I mean, they just snap right off. So once you get all three off, you remove the cover to the side. Now exposing the battery. Now if you have a Mercedes battery, they usually show you where the positive and negative is. It's very important to search for that so you don't remove the wrong one at the wrong time. First thing what I like to do always with removing a battery is disconnect the ground. It removes the power from the car altogether. You don't want to do the positive because removing the positive first, you could ground that on the chassis and it'll cause a great big spark. So what I do is I grab my 10mm socket with my long extension and I loosen the nut. And then usually these will pry right off. I like to twist them off. This one, you can see I'm struggling with it. It hasn't been taken off in a while. If you have one like this, what you do is you take a screwdriver and then you just widen the gap on that clamp there. And it should make it a lot easier to take off. And as you can see, it came right off. Now what I like to do is I like to take the cover, if you have one, and I like to place it over the negative side. So in case that the wire doesn't jump on there accidentally when I'm removing the positive and I don't have a short. So I do the same thing to the positive side over here. Loosen the nut, twist the terminal off, and remove the wire off to the side. Now, we're looking at here is the bracket that holds in the battery. Those are two 13mm nuts. There's one on that side, and then here is the other one closer to the firewall. So now what I do is I take my long extension, my 13mm socket, and then you go ahead and remove those two. So I do the same to the other side. Now it's going to be pretty difficult to get these two nuts because they're pretty deep down there. So what I do is I get a magnet with an extension on there. I don't want to lose these two nuts. You know, it's kind of annoying to replace. So that's what it looks like. And then you want to do the same to the other side. So now remove both of these two nuts. The bracket should be loose. And then what I do here is I grab the battery by the two handles here. And then as soon as I push up, the bracket should be loose. I remove the two cables for the battery off to the side so it doesn't get in the way. Now, before you completely remove the battery, I'm going to shortly figure out that there's still a hose connected to it as your vent hose. And it's usually off to the left of it. Not always. But here's the little the vent tube. So take a pocket screwdriver and just take it off. The hose itself is actually on the bottom. I'll show you later once I put that back on. So now go to remove the battery. Now I'm showing you the area of where the battery is. If you notice to the left there, I'll show you later what you have to do with the battery, but here is the bracket. This is what it looks like. It goes on top of the battery, so it pretty much just holds it down. So now what I do is you want to clear this area so it's a lot easier to place the battery back in. Like I said before, take the cables, get them out your way. These batteries are heavy. It's annoying to be fighting with it. Remember, positive is on the right, negative is on the left side. So now here what I do is I hook back together. That's what your vent hose looks like. You want to hook that back in once the battery's in place. So now I'm placing the battery back in. And you're going to want to make sure that it fits in properly. And then once you do so, you want to push it towards the left side, where the opposite the bracket, like I'm doing right there. And then you see I'm lifting up on that left side. So once that is secure, then you could go ahead and place in that vent tube. And then I'm going to secure the battery with the bracket. Sort of just kind of drop it in there and then align it with your fingers, screwdriver. So now I'll take the two 13mm nuts. I secure the bracket, which is going to secure the battery. Then the most important part is connecting the cables back in the correct way of doing it, so you don't have a spark or melt one of your tools, as it does happen. It's happened to me before by just being careless. So I'm going to prevent from you guys doing the same thing. So here you go. I've connected the bracket. So now I'm going to tighten it down again with my 13mm and my long extension. I just zap it on, and then I do the same thing to the other side. And now we're going to be looking at the cables and the proper way of connecting them. First thing is you always want to connect the positive side first. That way if you do touch the body, it does not ground out or cause a huge spark. So again, 10mm, your 3/8 ratchet, tighten that. And then you just give it a nice pull, make sure it's on there. Place the cap back over if you have one. If you don't, it's kind of okay. It shouldn't be touching anything. Now secure my ground cable. Tighten that one as well. I pull on it, make sure it's tight. So now everything's all hooked up. Now I'm going to go and place this cover back in. You want to make sure you place this in there correctly. So as you see, there's those little flaps on the bottom. So you want to hook it down first and then secure it on the top. Once that lines up, I put that together, and that's it for this tutorial, guys. Next week we'll show you how to sync the windows and your sunroof after you replace the battery. Thanks a lot.